Welcome, everyone, to the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism. What is the power of liberation? First to the Republican and then the Socialist. So glad to have you in the hizzy tonight on the Exceptional Conservative Network. Big night tonight. Lots of big announcements we're going to be making tonight on new shows that are coming on the Exceptional Conservative Network starting CPAC weekend. Week, in fact. And I'm really excited about this as well. You know what we have on Wednesday night, which is SHR Media Night, Sackheads Radio Night with Sackhead Sean, Sackhead Clint, and BZ, Sir Mark the Bloviating Zeppelin, that he is. They will be up at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Pacific. I'm telling you, the best late-night urban conservative talk show in the world. Welcome to the best late-night conservative talk show in the world. That is Sackheads Radio. So, good evening, Conrad. Vlad Putin is in our chat roll, the Euro Pacific Bank Limited TECN chat room. Yes, it is so good to have Vlad Putin in. Mary Brockman, my bouncer, is in the hizzy as well. She is my bouncer in chief. If you diss her, you diss me, you will be dismissed. Dave Milner's in here. Claudia, beautiful Claudia Cheek, is in here this particular evening. Listen, we're not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it's the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the Socialists. Wow. I'm telling you, this place is going to load up. I'm really pushing people coming into the chat room, the Euro Pacific Bank Limited TECN chat room. This is where you need to be. This is where good conversation goes on. And it doesn't have to be limited to good conversation just during my show. Good conversation go on all day long. You can be in here all day long at TECS or TECN, whichever page you're on, and hold some great conversations right off the bat. But first, I want to give a shout out to Dan the Man Butcher, who is Mr. HP Talk Radio, Mr. High Plains Pundit Media himself. Did a show on Sunday, which I was a part of, and just got the numbers in. 65,000 people were listening at the time of the late night interview. And the interview included Jeff Dunnitz and Melanie for MoneyTalk with Melanie. And so a very large listening audience. In fact, one of the largest listening audiences he's ever had. And we want to thank Dan the Man Butcher for carrying us live, and also Sackhead Sean at SHR Media Live, carrying us live, of course. And then also at 2 a.m. on the Liberty Channel, my friends. We are carried by Red Nation Rising. Wow. I also have news. I don't know if should I make this announcement now? I don't know. It looks like I'm in striking range because I'm number one. This show that you're listening to, the Exceptional Conservative Show, is number one at TECN, of course. But it looks like that I may be supplanting SHR Media as the number one, or Sackheads Radio as the number one show on SHR Media. So I'm sure that my good friend Sackhead Sean would throw a parade for me. I just know it. Dave, yeah, I thought it was number one everywhere too. No, No, my numbers are only 2/3 at SHR. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know how we kick off our program, this big program, and tonight we have a very special guest. Perry Drake will be joining us. We have a big announcement there. But I want you to take your right hand and I want you to put it over your heart. For those who are watching via live stream, there's a big flag over here. For those who are watching Ustream, flag's right behind me. I have a flag in front of me. Put your right hand over your heart and let us begin.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Woo! I'm telling you, get your kids to do that, man. I'm telling you, nothing more exciting. Listen, we're about to fire up the grill, and we are about to talk to a young man who is a great writer, great conservative writer, great conservative commentator. And we want to introduce ourselves, present to others. Good evening. We want to present to some and introduce to others Mr. Perry Drake. Good evening, Mr. Drake. It's a great honor to have you on our program. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How about you?
Great, great, absolutely wonderful. Listen, I want to make this particular announcement. Okay, y'all can stop the music. Thank you. You can tell it's a hip hop. We want to make this particular announcement tonight for everyone to hear. Perry Drake, who is a tremendous conservative commentator, will be joining the Exceptional Conservative Network next Tuesday, in fact, at 10:05 a.m. And he has a 1 hour program. 1 hour program on our network. And we are very, very excited about you coming on board, sir.
Well, I'm more excited to tell you the truth, Ken. It's a lifelong dream. I started out in radio and wanted to print journalism, but my heart was always in radio. And I'm so honored and thrilled to have the opportunity.
Listen, we're honored to have you. You are a tremendous commentator out of Dallas, Texas. He is.
Well, actually, I'm back in Chicago again.
Oh my goodness! What made you do that, man?
Oh my Lord! It's a long story. It's a really long story. It has to do with a job transfer, and I back up here. I was in Chicago before I went down to Dallas. You know, I had always wanted to go down to Texas because people in Texas are more in line with my thinking. It's a Republican state. It's very conservative.
Exactly.
Moved down there, and then I got transferred back up here, and so it's just, you know, Chicago is. You ever been to Chicago?
Yes, I have.
You might have heard. Here's an interesting thing that happened the other day. But actually, did you hear about the? Of course, you know, in Chicago we have a lot of black people.
Yeah.
A lot of black people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Of course, it's a Democrat gun control town. Shouldn't be happening. Of course, it's happening. Well, yesterday there was a 2-year-old child, a black guy, gangbanger, and a pregnant woman that was shot. And they were shot in this area town called K-Town because there was a lot of the streets there begin with the letter K.
Yeah.
And minutes before, it couldn't have been more than 5 minutes before that shooting happened. I was right there on that corner. And I got up and I left. And as I was going home, I was probably about half an hour away. And there was a shooting back on so-and-so street. And I was like, wait a minute, I was just there.
Wow.
Man.
Wow.
It's just amazing to me what's happened with the city. The first time that's happened, I had another occasion where I actually came up on a body at 5 I am on South Prairie Avenue, not too far from where the Obamas used to live here in Chicago. But anyway, that's
Wow.
just
Listen, you and I both know about the domestic terrorism that's going on in the inner cities, rife with liberal do-gooders who want you to believe that if you take guns from the good people, the bad people won't carry them.
right.
My own daughter, 27-year-old reporter, Shanice Milton, was killed in Washington, D.C., crossing the street. She was held between two gang members as a human shield during a shooting. So we witness this. We know this to be truth every single day. And yet, there are those who are on the left. And please explain to me, Perry, how this works. That you have African Americans who line up every single day to vote Democrat, and yet they want peace on the streets. They want there to be safety in the streets. Their ideology doesn't line up with what they want. Okay, explain that to me.
You know what, Ken, and that's one of the most difficult things that I deal with in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for the most part, I'm a lifelong conservative.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I used to think I was a Democrat. I was a liberal, but that's because I didn't quite know what those terms meant. But after I found and started examining, my first radio job was in Tuskegee, Alabama, and I had the good fortune to meet two young black guys that went to Tuskegee University, Kit Jones and Andre Dixon. You know, they had actually started a black conservative club at Tuskegee University, of all places.
Wow.
Well, so I met them, and we would sit down and we would talk, and then they would, as we talked, I began to realize I was not a liberal and I was not a Democrat. I was always a conservative.
Mm-hmm. And
so after I made that transition to being a conservative Republican, I call myself a default Republican. I'm a default Republican only because by default, the conservative movement happens to be in the Republican Party.
Exactly.
But I am not a Republican by any measure. I tell people all the time, to be honest with you, I trust the Republicans a lot. I trust the Democrats because you know what a Democrat's going to do because they do it. Republicans are completely different. But unfortunately, I'm a default Republican, so I support the party. But here's what bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
I sit there and I talk to black people, and when we sit there and we talk, everything they tell me and everything we talk about, they agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
They're conservatives.
Yeah.
And yet, they can't get it. It's something so deep in their DNA. It's deeply embedded.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
They just cannot bring themselves to look at it any other way. So it doesn't matter to them that there's this bloodbath in their neighborhood. Sometimes I look at them and I say to them, you know, you guys are paying for your foolishness of supporting that party is all those dead black bodies in the street. And you're glad to pay it.
Yes.
And they look at me like I'm crazy. It's so beyond me. It is so beyond me. It's so hard to explain. Other than, I don't know, it's cognitive dissonance.
The brainwashing.
That's all I can think of.
The brainwashing and indoctrination over the past 100 years, and I agree with you in terms of the Republicans, because if anything, Republicans should be jumping up and down talking about civil rights as they were the radical Republicans were the founders of civil rights movement here in America. They should be jumping up and down and pointing to the fact that if it were not for them and Eisenhower, you wouldn't have a civil rights bill in 1964. They should be, but the Republicans refused to hold that banner, and so it was taken from them by those on the left, and the indoctrination by those on the left to black people has been just immense and so effectual that you can go back to what Lyndon Baines Johnson said, where he said that he would have those niggers for the next 100 years voting Democrat. Now, if y'all offended because a black man said that on his own show, I didn't say it. It was Lyndon Johnson. So you write your letters to Lyndon Johnson. Go right ahead, Perry.
Yeah. and that's it. You know what? I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've actually been banned from Facebook. Things like that. And attributing to, I'm like, oh, they were saying, we're going to block you for the next 30 days because you have went against community standards. And I'm like, all I did was quote a Democrat.
That's it. That's all I did. We're talking to.
What are you talking about?
We're talking tonight. I'm sorry. Let me just do this real quick. We're talking tonight with Perry. Perry Drake is with us tonight. Perry Drake out of Chicago, excellent conservative and newest member of the TECN family. He will be starting his own program on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 o'clock. He'll be sandwiched in between by Melanie, Collette, and some guys have dreamed of that, but not him. See, Melanie wasn't in the chat room until I mentioned her name, and all of a sudden she popped up. She's in the chat room, so I can't talk about her anymore. Go right ahead, sir.
That's funny. But no, it's. I look at my family. I come from a very large family, and just so people can know, my background is public relations, and I was a journalist. I worked for a number of newspapers, the Chicago Defender. A lot of you may be as one of the oldest black publications, which what most people didn't realize is Chicago Defender up until the 60s was mainly Republicans, and later on it switched over to being Democrat. Worked for them. I worked for the Daily Herald, which is a newspaper here in the Chicago area. I worked for the Daily News, which was a New York Times newspaper, now defunct, that was in Atlanta, Georgia, and the Atlanta Daily World, which is the oldest black published black newspaper, which is still probably conservative in Atlanta, and I also did public relations and a number of other things. So, thing was when I ended up in newspapers, I wanted to be a columnist, but it just never happened.
Mm-hmm.
I went into public relations, but I can tell you, I was probably the most minorities of minorities because I was a guy in newsrooms, and I was the only conservative.
Yeah.
And they looked at me like I was some kind of a freak of nature. They did. They couldn't believe it. Like, you actually believe that? I'm like, yeah.
You know, it's funny.
The problem was, I used to use their own. Go ahead.
You know, it's funny that you say that because I'm thinking that when you begin speaking some of the principles of conservatism, they're running over to their friends and families who are at the job or whatever and saying, "Hey, come here! There's a conservative here. Hey, come on, look at that!"
What they did. They used to look at me like I was insane. They're like, "You can't believe." But the thing about it, Ken, was I would call them on it, and I was always getting written up, and that's a really bizarre thing. I would be getting written up, and they would say, "Well, Perry, you're creating a disruption in the newsroom." I'm like, "How am I creating a disruption?" You're upsetting people. Case in point, one day we were sitting in the newsroom, and it was a big newsroom, the Daily Herald here in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about Fox News and everything and how conservative it was. And they're carrying on and carrying on. I was trying to avoid the conversation. So finally I said, "Look, Fox News is not conservative." And they're like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Yes, Fox News has some conservatism in it. They have like Sean Hannity, and they have like," and I named the different names. And I said, "But then you have Bill O'Reilly, who's a populist. And then you have Geraldo Rivera, who's a screaming liberal." And I went all the way down the line. I said, "The only reason you guys think it's conservative is because they're right down the freaking middle."
Exactly.
That's it. I said, but as a conservative that can watch, that can see it, they are not. And I said, they are not conservative. They're right down the middle. They're fair and balanced. I said, your problem is, and this is when I got written up. I said, your problem is you guys believe in ABC, which is to commies, CNN, the commie news networks, and the CBS, the commie broadcasting system. That's all y'all care about. Well, one of the girls got insulted at what I said, and she came and she slammed some papers down in front of me. So, of course, my ghetto came out. I stood up and I said, I ain't taking this F8 team from any of you. So, you know, I'm in the managing editor's office, and they're telling me, Kerry, we're concerned in the newsroom that you have the inability to get along with your colleague.
Oh my goodness!
You talked to her? I was like, they didn't talk to her. It was, trust me, when I was in the newsroom, and here's a really big secret. Big city newsrooms.
Yeah.
There's a few other people who agree with the conservative point of view, but they're too afraid of losing their jobs.
Yeah.
To speak up.
Yeah.
Because I would have them come to me and say, Perry, and they're mainly white. Actually, they were all white. And they would come to me and they would say, don't tell anybody, but I wish I could be as vocal as you are. And you know what I would say to them, Tim?
What's that?
Thing protecting me? They said, what's that? I said, you see my skin color? That's the only thing protecting me.
Yeah. Yeah.
How you going to explain? You fired your only black conservative person, reporter in the newsroom. I said, that's the only thing protecting me, and I know it.
Exactly.
And I used it against them.
Listen, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you something. I know exactly what you're experiencing. As I have been thrown out of 2 churches, I have been fired from a job because of my political beliefs. I understand exactly what you're saying. That they will.
You know what?
Yeah.
First, number one, I want to tell you. You mentioned something earlier, and let me say this. I am really grieved to hear of the loss of your daughter. I'd actually read about it.
Yes.
And at the time, I connect the names.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't. I didn't connect the names.
And you know why? You know why I had.
Me to hear.
Yeah, you know why we had to do that here in DC, right? We couldn't let her use. Yeah, we couldn't let her use my last name because everyone knows that I'm a black conservative media. And if they had connected her last name to my last name, she would have never been hired anywhere in D.C.
Oh, never.
Never. Okay. You know, because I talked with her about that.
You know what? Mm-hmm. That's the thing that when I entered journalism because I just believed in the truth. Mm-hmm. I really do. I remember when I entered journalism, I was taught by my professors at the time that the job of every journalist was to seek the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the bottom line. That's all that mattered. And so I entered it kind of naive.
Yeah.
Because I used to tell people, all I believe in the truth. And I would talk to my mom. Mm-hmm. Mom, let me put it to you. I'm a journalist, and with truth. I don't judge whether this is right or wrong. That's not my job.
Yeah.
My job is not to make the world a better place. My job is not to give people a sense of renewal or anything like that. My job is to basically tell you what happened, this is how it happened, and this is when it happened. That's all I'm supposed to do.
Yep.
And yet, when I got into journalism, I would ask them, they would say, our job is to make the world a better place. And I said, no, it ain't. That's not your job. And years would go by, and I became a managing editor, and I would have to hire young reporters. And I would sit them down, and I would ask them a question. I'd say, what's your job?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Would say, and without fail, you can ask any reporter this, what's your job? And they will say, to make the world a better place. And I'm like, no, it ain't.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Job. Like, what do you mean? I said, say any job. I said, okay, what's the job of a news organization? To make the world a better place. I said, no, it ain't. And they would look at me because I would be one of the few report editors who would be interviewing somebody. And of course, the other editors would be pissed at me.
Yeah.
They would look at me all cross-eyed and stuff. Then I would say, I don't care what they're telling you. The job of a newspaper is to make money, and your job is to tell the truth. That's it.
That's it. That's it. And what's the number one thing? Make money.
Make money. That's it. Make money.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Matter of fact, the new work for the Daily Herald had the best model of any newspaper organization that I ever know. You can look it up online. Its model was to make money and tell the truth. That's it.
Oh, well, Perry?
To make money and tell the truth. And
Perry?
people will look at me like, oh, well, Perry, isn't that kind of like short-sighted? I said, no, it ain't.
No.
Like, why isn't it? I said, you ever listen to, you hear the pursuit of happiness, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? I said, what do you think the framers meant when they wrote that?
Mm-hmm.
The founders meant when they wrote that? And they would say, oh, to be happy. And I said, so in a capitalist society, how do you find happiness?
Exactly.
By making money.
There you go. There you go.
And that's it. And I said, and so that's what gets me. It's like journalism, I was like, strange. I mean, it was the weirdest thing in my life. Mm-hmm. I was there, and I would tell my mom would say to me, do you really believe what you said? I said, Mom, let me explain something to you. You're my mother, and I love you. But if I found out you were involved in some kind of criminal activity or malfeasance,
mm-hmm.
and I got the story, it'll be front page news, and I'll visit you on the weekend in prison.
That's love. That's real love.
Serious.
Perry.
That's my job.
Perry, I would have
said, I'm sorry you're doing 20 years.
I'm just doing my job, Mom.
My job is to tell the truth, and I'm sorry. The truth is the truth.
Perry Drake is the...
I'll put money in your prison account.
There you go. Not a lot. Not a lot.
The truth is the truth.
Exactly.
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
You know what? I got to pay my gas bill.
That's right. See you enough for some cigarettes.
And that's what gets me.
Yeah.
And so that's what gets me. And so, but back to what you were saying, one of the things that I worry about when it comes to black conservatives, because, you know, there were 10% of us, I think it was, about 16% of blacks voted for Trump?
14% of black men voted for Donald Trump.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump. But what gets me is, and what I hope to do with the show, mm-hmm. I don't want to just be talking to each other.
Yeah.
You may have heard the old African proverb, each one teach one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what I hope to do.
Yeah.
I want to be able to go out and talk to people who aren't hearing the word, aren't hearing the message. Mm-hmm. That's one of my greatest fear about, one of my greatest apprehensions about what we're doing, people like you and I are doing.
Yeah.
I don't want to be preaching to the chorus all the time. When I was at the Chicago Defender, the editor down there, occasionally I would write an editorial. Stations from all over the world would call because they wanted to hear the black side of things.
Yeah.
And they would say, and we would be talking. They would say, "Well, Perry, so what are your thoughts?" And I said, "You got to understand, I speak for the newspaper. I don't speak for myself."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Plus, about what the newspaper's position is, and I would tell them their position. Then they would think, they would say, "Okay, Perry, you don't seem to quite agree with that. So tell us what your position is." And I said, "Okay." Setting this aside for a moment, I'm going to tell you my personal opinion, which really has nothing to do with the newspaper because I have to speak for the newspaper, which, you know, I really wasn't.
Yeah.
So I would say what I had to say. And then what would happen was, next thing you know, I would check my voicemail, and I would have half of the calls would be threats.
Yeah.
But the other half would be saying, you know, brother, I've been thinking the same way you've been thinking, and I'm so glad you said what you said.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me feel good. It made me feel good, and it made me even overlook the threats. You know, it made me overlook the threats because now I was reaching people that nobody is talking to, and this is. I'm glad that Donald Trump is the president of the United States.
Exactly.
And to pat myself on the back, I am one of the few people who correctly predicted that.
Yeah.
And that the Republicans will hold on to the House and Senate. But my greatest fear is that the Republicans and the conservative movement is going to blow another golden chance.
Yeah, definitely.
This is a golden chance to reach out to the black community and act like building something in the black community.
Well,
I was so heartened when Donald Trump, 4 or 5 months ago, actually made his outreach to the black community. Not even Ronald Reagan did that.
Exactly.
As dramatically as Trump did, and as vocally as Trump did.
Exactly.
I'm hoping that the Republican Party, conservatives, and even black conservatives realize we have a very unique chance here in history to actually go out there and get these black people and say, okay, this is why you should come and see it our way. And I just hope we don't blow it, because I don't see this coming again for another couple of generations.
Exactly, Perry. We're not going to blow it. You know why? Because you just joined TECN.
By that.
You just joined TECN. We're not going to blow it. In fact, we're going to win, and we're going to win big. Y'all going to get used. Y'all going to get used to in the urban community. And I know 25% of the people that listen to my radio program are actually in Washington D.C.
Right.
Less than 2% of them I would consider conservative. So there are a lot of down low listeners who listen in every single night, who want to think the same way we do, who want to believe the same way we do, but fear the same things that we don't fear, in the sense of not losing our jobs. I have no fear of losing my job. I have no fear of losing my family. I have no fear of losing my church. All those were taken from me. So I have nothing else to lose but to win. So we're going to be winners. And we will conquer, and we will conquest as conservatives. Perry, tell everybody when your show begins, and tell them what time they should be tuning in. And I'm going to be blowing you up, and you'll be on SHR later on tonight, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Tell everybody all the details, sir.
Well, it's gonna be Tuesday at 10 a.m., but that's Eastern Standard Time, right?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be 9 a.m. It's gonna be 9 a.m. my time.
Good morning.
No, it doesn't bother me, because sometimes when I'm talking to people on the East Coast and they say, give me a call at 10, and I call them at 10, they're like, you're supposed to call me at 10. I said, I'm calling you at 10. They said, no, it's 11. I'm like, oops. So I have to stop and think about it.
No.
But no, I'm really excited about it. It'll probably begin, it'll probably be a little rough to begin with, because it's been a while since I've been in radio. And so to go ahead, I've really been giving a great deal of thought about it. I've been planning the format. And the one thing I wanted to be is I wanted to be not just preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
I want to go outside the doors of the church.
Exactly.
And I want to invite more people in it.
Mm-hmm.
I really think we have a very rare moment in history to change the directions of where black people are going, because I live here in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people, you have no idea how miserable the lives of so many blacks are in this city on the south and west side. South and west sides, black sides.
Mm-hmm.
I've only been to D.C. once, and I don't know where you've traveled, but I can bring you to places in Chicago, black areas, all Democrat areas, all overseen by Democrats, including the former President Obama, who oversaw a large area of Chicago. And you would sit there and you would cry.
Yeah.
I look at it and I see the hopelessness. I despair, and I see that it's not getting better, and it just breaks my heart. You know, I never forget the day I was leaving work. I was working at the University of Chicago in the same job that Michelle Obama had. Matter of fact, the job they paid her $300,000 a year to not show up.
Wow.
Into the White House. I ended up getting the same job. I didn't get anywhere near $300,000. And you know what? The University of Chicago, the Negroes expected me to be there every day. I was like, wait a minute, you paid her? They were like, you're going to be like, shut up. Matter of fact, Obama's best friend, Dr. Eric Whitaker, I was his press person.
Wow.
So I got off at 5 o'clock. I went around the block, and it was South Perry Avenue, 5 o'clock now in the summer. And there, laying in the street, was a young black boy.
Wow.
That he looked like a kid, and he was laying there. He had a white T-shirt, and half of it was covered in blood. I knew he was dead when I saw it. So I kind of looked at him because I was shocked. Next thing you know, I'm surrounded by police, and the police asked me, did I see what happened? I said, I didn't see anything. I just got here. I was the first person on the scene. Later on, I read in the newspaper, it was a 13-year-old boy that was shot by a 15-year-old boy. Shot him dead. And I'm just sitting here in this city, and gun control.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
I go into areas because of my job. I end up in areas quite frequently, and I can't defend myself. I'm completely disarmed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Chicago is, I don't know. I didn't really want to come back here, but I'm here, so I'm dealing with it.
Exactly.
But I hope to be not only a great radio host, but your correspondent here in Chicago.
Well, you are. You are all of the above. And trust me, I have dynamic plans for world conquest. And you are a part of them. So
I'm telling you, I'm going to do my best. Like I'm saying, it's going to be a little learning curve because it's been a while since I've been out of it. Because I've been out of radio for a while. No. And I want to make sure when I come on the air, my research is done, and I'm ready to talk and can go. You know what people say? And so I think I can carry on for an hour by myself if I have to.
Exactly. I know I can.
If I have to.
Perry,
I'll start talking.
We love you, man.
I don't know. Ken, I really appreciate the opportunity because I wrote a quick column earlier today, and I used to tell people all the time, I said, because I've worked so many jobs in my life,
mm-hmm.
and I was never really satisfied with any of them.
Yeah.
And people would ask me, well, Perry, why is it you're not happy? And I'm like, well, I always look at myself this way. I always that what you should have been is when you played in a sandbox, what you imagined you were going to be years later. And whatever job I was working, I said, you know what? This job, when I was in this sandbox, I never thought I'd be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
The only job I ever really looked back on when I had it, and I thought, this is what I should have been, is when I worked at WBIL Radio in Tuskegee, Alabama.
Wow.
I was getting paid nothing, but I enjoyed it. I was on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking. It was wonderful. And so when this opportunity, I was thrilled. I still am thrilled, and I just want to do the best job I can do. Whether I'm good or bad, whether I fail or succeed, I'm going to give it my best.
Well, I can promise you two things. One, you will succeed. Two, you are the best. And it is great to have you in between Melanie's show. Her show comes on at 10 o'clock on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Yours will come on at 10 o'clock or actually 10:05. We start on the 5 on every hour. So 10:05 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're talking with Perry Drake. Perry Drake, our newest correspondent out of Chicago, and also the newest host on TECN. I want to thank you, sir, for coming on. I know that you got to get prepped for a little bit later on when SHR gives you a phone call, and you're on their show later on tonight. You will be the first host that ever got introduced on both shows same night. So we will get a certificate or something for you. But we love you.
I am so honored.
We love you, Perry. We know that I'm telling you, radio will never be the same. Conservative talk will never be the same. What's happening here at TECN has never been done before, and we're about to rock the world with Perry Drake. God bless you, sir. We'll be talking with you real soon.
Well, God bless you too.
All right. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. I am telling you, a lot of people look at me and they're like, he said he gonna start a network. But look at that chat room. I got Ralph J. Chittams up in that house. Melanie Collette up in that hizzy. You know what I'm saying? Broadcasting live on Dan Butcher's radio. Having clips played by Dave Milner. The beautiful Claudia Cheek shows up at one of our events. And Mary Brockman is my bouncer-in-chief. And Mamba is my attorney for the SHR chat room. I'm talking, hey, we got it going on up in here. We'll be right back with Lonnie Poindexter right after these messages. Glory be to God.
Hi, my name is Willie Lawson of The Willie Lawson Show here on the Exceptional Conservative Network. We have a brand new show on at 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. We are bound to make you think. We are bound to make you see things differently. We are bound to push you into action for not only your community, but your country. That's The Willie Lawson Show on the Exceptional Conservative Network, 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. See you there.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, coming soon to Ossicles near you. Excelsior.
Welcome to Lion Chasers, where faith and public policy intersect. And now, your Lion Chaser in the good fight of faith, Lonnie Poindexter, on Urban Family Talk.
We're not saying that there's not instances where there's maybe racial injustice somewhere. This is America, and people are human, and there's sin in the world. He's a president of first. He's the first president to say that America is not a Christian nation any longer. But, you know, we'll pray for our enemies while we defeat them.
You can't blame folks for messing up the city. There has not been an elected Republican in council in Baltimore City in over 50 years.
In the co-captain's chair with me today, Reverend Ralph Chittams.
What's happened is the social justice movement has now been hijacked by a godless movement.
Don't be bamboozled. Ladies and gentlemen, Frederick Douglass was a gun-toting conservative. It's not a black or a white issue. It's a God versus anti-God issue. Now, I know those would say, well, it's all rigged. It's all a game, Lonnie. Because I get that a lot. And they're the crew that has their bags packed at the train station waiting for Jesus to come back. We'll be here in a minute. On the train went off. On the train. Now there wasn't Jesus. But he's coming. Meanwhile, Rome is burning. The host of the Black Man Thinking radio show. Welcome to the show, Stanley Levy.
Good morning, Lonnie. How are you?
The core issues, the bull elephants are in the home. We got to do away with the entitlement programs and the things that hamstring us.
And that's where the conservative viewpoints really resonate for my generation.
I want to welcome to the show the host of the Exceptional Conservative Show, and that's my brother Kenneth McClinton. Welcome, brother.
Lonnie, it's an honor and privilege always to be with your ever-expanding audience.
Let your listeners be lion chasers with Lonnie Poindexter. If Lion Chasers sounds right for your station or network, contact Will Addison by email, waddison@afa.net. Encourage your listeners to be lion chasers with Lonnie Poindexter and Urban Family Talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the great pleasure of having a conservative Christian icon of broadcasting with us tonight, none other than the great Lonnie Poindexter himself. Good evening, sir. Great pleasure having you on tonight.
And if all those things in our nation's capital.
Hello, sir. First and foremost, can I say this to you? I want to thank you for recommending. I want everybody in the chat room should be giving this man applause. It was Lonnie Poindexter who recommended Perry Drake for TECN. And congratulations, sir. He will be starting on Tuesday at 10 a.m. on our network, right before your 11 o'clock start. So you'll get a chance to listen to him.
Fantastic. Well, yes, Perry's the real deal. Hope our listeners enjoy his broadcast.
Oh, most certainly they will. They will indeed. Listen, there's much going on in the nation's capital. I wanted to get your opinion first on the Mike Flynn thing, because he was released because, as we discovered last night, talking with Joe Rice Johnson, merely because he stepped outside of protocol to talk with an ambassador from Russia, and he didn't do anything illicit, but there was much furor about the fact that he did not tell everyone that he had done so, and thus he had lost the trust of Chief of Staff Reince Priebus and Vice President Mike Pence and President Donald Trump. So he was released from his job. But there are individuals on the left who keep yelling and screaming about the fact that this is an indictment against Donald Trump and that the Russians are trying to run our government. I got to ask you, sir, is this hyperbole? Is this overdrive from the left regarding this particular matter?
Well, yeah, I think hyperbole is probably an understatement. They've been throwing pots and pans ever since they lost the election, and so they can throw up in the air and make noise is what they're going to do. I had Senator Ted Harvey on my show the other day, and I asked him this question as well concerning Flynn, and he pointed out something to me. He says, well, it may be that the Central Intelligence community had it in for him. He had crossed swords with them, and so they had an axe to grind, and that's something I hadn't thought about. Here's something else that kind of caught my attention. He's a Democrat.
Yeah.
So he was actually appointed by the Obama administration. So I don't know. I wish I had the contacts that you have within the intelligence community and the greater D.C. community, but I'm not that big a fish yet. And so it's just merely speculation on my part. I commend the president for pulling the trigger quickly with the decision that he made. Whether it's a good decision or bad decision, I guess time will tell. At least we know the guy has no problem with saying, you're fired.
Yes! I know. And why is it that Republicans are not shooting back with that and saying that that's leadership? Yeah. When he knew that there was something wrong, he got rid of the person. But the Republicans, you got John McCain talking about we need an investigation. Lindsey Graham talking about we need an investigation. What investigation do we need?
Well, then again, you mentioned the term Republican and Lindsey Graham and John McCain in the same sentence, and that's probably an issue right there because they would be more Rhino than they would be Republican.
We are talking tonight with an icon of Christian conservative talk, none other than Lonnie Poindexter. You can hear him on the you can hear him on Lion Chasers Radio, 11 to 1, Monday through Friday, and just a terrific man. I hope someday to grow up to be as big as he is. He's got like 7 million listeners around the country from coast to coast. You know, I just got 1 or 2 people in the chat room. You know, someday. I want to ask you.
I would check. Should check them in the mail.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. But the House committee is, and under Representative Jason Chaffetz, is working on Capitol Hill even as we speak to overturn a bill that came out of Washington, D.C., allowing assisted suicide. And the mayor, Muriel Bowser, signed the Death with Dignity Act a little while ago, I believe about December or so. And in fact, it legalized assisted suicide in the district and gave doctors the ability to offer lethal medication to individuals who are terminally ill and will die within 6 months. And I just wanted your opinion because you are a big pro-life guy, just like I am. Your thoughts, first and foremost, on this death with dignity thing, and is it wrong for Congress to step into district rule, home rule?
You know, it's a moral issue for me.
Yeah.
And Congress stepping in, and you know, always, you can't legislate morality, but I tend to disagree. It's a really cool name. They have death with dignity. They always come up with these clever marketing schemes to justify that which is immoral.
Yeah.
You know, we should not be in the business, in my opinion, of determining who lives and who dies, because I think it's an immoral thing and it's a sin. And then Congress for getting involved. You know, D.C. is, as you taught me yourself, is a little city, and you know, you got issues. You know, I met. You just reminded me of something.
Yeah.
I met a gentleman. I believe he's from Denmark.
Mm-hmm.
And he was at the March for Life, and he was talking about how they had adopted the assisted suicide provisions in their nation, and they were having tremendous negative fallout from it because now you've got teenage girls who are going through emotional withdrawal because they broke up with the love of their life. And I know you have daughters, so you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's probably what the love of their life is every 2 months, and wanting to kill themselves because of it. And so, you know, we're headed down that slippery slope of ending up the same way. It sounds all warm and fuzzy. It's ugly on the inside. I guess that's about as much as I can say about it.
Yeah. And Melanie Collette, who happens to be in our chat room, brings up a point, and she is definitely a very strong conservative, but she says, do I want to tell someone who is suffering terribly that they can't, thus putting myself between them and their maker? Yeesh. Is that really, in my opinion, I don't think you are, because your maker has control of the day in which you are to see him. And even his son suffered at the cross, a whole lot worse than many people go through, in terms of even a cancer death. And I know that a lot of people are sitting back and saying, hey, Ken, how can you make that judgment call? But isn't that what we're called to do in the first place? I don't know. Am I wrong on this, Lonnie?
I don't think you're wrong on it, bro.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just responsibility. I mean, if you have someone who's sick or is ill and is deemed to be terminal, you take that individual before the leadership and the eldership in the church, and that is the final arbiter in the affairs of man.
Mm-hmm.
Man is not the final arbiter. And here's another point. If someone wishes to take themselves out, why do they need to be assisted to do that? There's a lot of clever ways if you want to leave this earth and go meet your maker earlier than you determine that you should. I'm not trying to be cold and callous, but certainly you don't need a physician's assistance or some type of drug or pill or something not to need to be involved, because at some point it's going to become a political issue where we determine who lives and dies, just like the death penalty they had as a provision within Obamacare.
Listen, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And apparently, Melanie is in the chat room, and she used the angry face icon towards me because she says I'm mischaracterizing what she said because I left out the first part. But her statement is, but legislatively, do I want to tell someone who is suffering terribly that they can't, thus putting myself between them and their maker? Okay, I added it. No. Doesn't change my opinion. But hopefully I have not offended thee, oh great Melanie. You gotta do something about your little sister, man.
The New Jersey, the New Jersey GOP diva.
Yeah. you didn't do something about it.
I was approached with this type of point concerning the abortion issue, where I was told, it's a woman, you can't tell a woman what she can do with her body. I says, no, I can't tell her what she can do with her body. I can tell her what's immoral because I do have free speech. I said, but ultimately, I don't want to pay for it. And if she chooses to do away with the living, breathing entity within her that has its own DNA code, that's between her and her maker. I think also probably with the laws of the state of the land, since anyone that has its own DNA in its own spiritual body is a citizen, the last time I checked in America.
Yeah.
If you choose to go out and want to do away with that citizen, that's between you and God. But I would, you and God and the state that you happen to live in or county.
Okay, apparently I'm running a commercial for Melanie Collette here. Okay, because your little sister is angry in the chat room because she says I'm mischaracterizing what she said. I should say the first thing that she said, because she's a God-fearing woman. Melanie Collette, this is what she said. I said scripturally it's a deaf no. That's the first thing I said. And I want you to know she's yelling at me, man. What are you going to do?
I think she's stirring it up because she wants to drive continued listenership for her radio show. Aren't you high enough in the rankings that you have to have more points and going up further the list? Watch out, Ken. She'll be down for your number 2 spot.
Oh man, I know I'm gonna. Oh, look at that face! Oh my goodness! Oh, that's an angry little sister. What? Oh, you know you're gonna hear about it, right? That's the.
I just hide behind Ralph.
That's right. Me too. Me too. I'm trying to get Ralph up in here, man.
He's bigger than I am, so she can swing at him. I'm scared of her.
I ain't scared.
Munchkins you gotta watch out for. They pack quite a punch.
I ain't scared. I'm hiding behind Ralph. Listen, one more thing I want to raise with you tonight, and thank you so much for staying over with me in terms of this. Ashton Kutcher was on the Senate and the Senate committee today testifying about child sexual exploitation and his desire to end it. And I wanted to give your thoughts. We hear all about, and I have nothing against a young woman wearing a dress with Donald Trump emblazoned on it and Make America Great. I have no problem with that. I think that was absolutely wonderful, absolutely great. But we don't hear too many actors talking about issues like this. And I'm going to ask you, why is that?
I think for the most part, Hollywood, and I'm taking this from Dave Milner, Hollywood, they're outside of the fray. They don't have a true touch on what's truly happening in America because they think America's the world that they live in. It's heavily steeped in a lot of the foolishness and immorality that we end up talking about on a regular basis. But it's always great when somebody comes forward and basically, talks about the elephant in the room and what folks obviously have issues with. The sexualization of our youth in America because of the entertainment industry is kind of really interesting. They want to throw rocks at the bad things are happening, but not acknowledge that it's because of them that the things happen in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Will his example today be something that the liberals turn to, or am I just naive and hoping for something?
I don't know. It might be just an issue of the week with them, and much like now, it's a cool designer thing to do to go about black babies in foreign countries. Try to treat the baby like designer handbags. Look, I have one of these too.
Look, I got an Asian. Look, I got a Mexican. Oh, look. We are talking tonight, and so glad to have him on our air tonight. The Exceptional Conservative Show live on the Exceptional Conservative Network. Lonnie Poindexter, who is blazing his own trail and setting the world on fire with his wonderful program, Lion Chasers Radio. Tell everyone how they can listen to your program, sir.
They can catch me Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time Zone at urbanfamilytalk.com. We're also on traditional radio towers across the country. The name of the show is Lion Chasers with Lonnie Poindexter. And you got to give a listen. You will not be disappointed. And I steal a lot of good stuff from the Exceptional One. So
I steal it from you first.
We give him credit for it. Yeah, let me give a shout out. I see Mary Brockman in the chat room. Kudos to Mary, and I see Brother Ralph there. I see White Mama 46.
Woo!
And Claudia's in the chat room as well, and Dan. So we're a big happy family, aren't we?
We are indeed. And Claudia is a beautiful woman. You saw her at the Trailblazer event. Beautiful.
I didn't get a chance to meet her. I knew she was there, but I didn't realize that she was there until after the event.
Wow, I'm telling you, very beautiful young woman, and that's to be expected because she's conservative. It goes with the territory. Lonnie, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thanks, bro.
All right. Lonnie Poindexter, Lion Chaser Radio. You know what's coming up next on Sackheads Radio Night. It's Wednesday night. We're going to release the Kraken in just a few, right after these messages. All right, gentlemen. Get your cigarettes. Yep, all right. All right. It's that time, baby. Time to play that commercial that we love so much.
Hi, it's your business diva here, Melanie Collette of MoneyTalk with Melanie on the Exceptional Conservative Network. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m., we talk all things money on a global, domestic, and household scale that affects you and your wallet. You don't want to miss it.
From the war front to the streets of our nation's capital, men of faith, Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor, and Kenneth McClinton, the exceptional conservative, bring both constitutional gravitas and spiritual perspective on today's issues to the most influential Christian urban talk show, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays. It's a new day on New Day, Black and Red.
Good morning.
I'm Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Okay, folks, that's not how it goes. I think I'm Shannon, and
I
you're
think so.
Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. We are The Right Way with Shannon and Mike.
Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Live on SHR Media.
And on TECN.
Where we'll be talking about all kinds of things.
From sports and politics.
To food and entertainment.
To money.
Family.
And anything else in between.
Community, holidays, all kinds of things.
It'll be great. Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe from the Reaver, Common Sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com. That's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shrmedia.com.
Thank you for taking the call. And I really enjoy ICRN, your station, the station I listen to all day.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Dominique, for that.
The best late night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best late night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Heart two. Heart two.
Radio.
Heart two. Heart two.
Radio.
The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Now, Brownells, we only have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. In a few minutes, we will be getting the Kraken going. We will release the Kraken on the world, and it's not a pretty sight for a liberal, not at all. But I wanted to bring on tonight one of the big daytime stars of TECN, Miss Melanie Collette.
I usually don't even answer the phone if it's low. What's the name?
So if you can hit that little button so that we don't hear the reverb back or whatever, you can always tune in later to hear yourself. Because you're not listening to me.
Oh my God.
Miss Melanie Collette. Now, there are people in the chat room who think that I'm abusing you tonight. First, about the promo, which I think is a very sexy promo. And I think it's very poignant. And David,
as long as you can pop with his presentation, that's all. With the whole cigarette thing, I mean, you know.
But Dave and I always go out. We go out on the porch when that plays, so that we can smoke our cig, and then we come back in and we're okay. So
you know what? That's you know, you probably want to talk to somebody about that. Put that out there.
My wife.
You might want to see somebody.
My wife is sleeping. Thank you very much. Now.
I'm just saying.
And don't pick up the phone and call her either. Number two.
I will call her.
I know you will. I know you will. Oh, man. But number two, I want everyone to hear from you what you were saying about assisted suicide, physician-assisted suicide, because I don't want people saying that I misquoted you or took away your privilege and freedoms of free speech by insinuating things that I may have
you
said.
totally did.
I did not. Did not. Did not.
You started 3 lines down. You start from the very first thing I said. You started with the thing I said.
I'm a commentator.
What I said was, scripturally,
okay.
Scripturally, it's definitely enough. That was the first thing I said.
First thing.
And then the second thing I said, but do I want to stand between someone and their maker? And what I meant by that was that I want to, from a, and I believe I said from a political standpoint, meaning, do I think that I, as a fellow human being, have the right to tell someone who is suffering horribly, and you're talking to someone, 5 close family members die of cancer, to tell that person by law that they can't do that, thus making me an intercede. You know, our relationship with our Creator is a personal one. And whether or not he forgives us is a personal one. And what's in our hearts is personal. So do I, as a legislator, want to go so far as to say that that person can't do that? That's what I meant by that. Is it for me? Do I believe it's morally wrong? Absolutely. And that's not something that I would do. But from a law perspective, do I want to go so far as to intercede on someone's behalf and tell them that they can't do it?
All right.
When they're suffering. I think 6 months is a little far out, but who am I to make that decision? That's all I'm saying. But I believe exactly as Lonnie said, our life is not our own. I would never encourage anyone to do that. I would discourage it as long as possible. Also, don't know what it feels like to be in so much pain that you're on a constant morphine drip. So, you know, and I believe strongly that our Creator does understand that.
Yes.
Does know what that feels like. Is able to read that person. And if they were to make that decision, is in a position to offer forgiveness, you know, where it's not deserved.
Yes.
So that's why my position is what it is. Is that clear?
I can feel that head rolling, finger up in the air. No, you didn't.
I'm just saying that's what I meant, and that. And, you know, to me, that's where the extension of mercy is, because we are only human. And when you're talking about people who are suffering horribly, and like I said, I've seen it more than I care to mention, I don't know that our Lord and Savior doesn't make room for that in His mercy.
Well,
when someone's suffering that way.
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, first and foremost, for those following along at home, the only unpardonable sin is to know Christ and not accept Him. That is the only unpardonable sin.
Right.
So all sins are forgivable, but we don't ask government to decide for us whether God forgives or not. We, in fact, want government to stay out of the decision of killing our own family members or whatever. And we understand that pain and suffering are a part of life, and that alone is not a reason to end it. And I understand what you're saying. I see. That's why I brought you on, because I am a fair and just man.
And listen, I understand exactly what you're saying from an intellectual standpoint.
Yeah.
But from someone who has never been there, I don't find myself to be in a position to make that call for someone.
I am,
because I've never been through it.
Okay.
And I don't believe. I believe that God is the only one who is able to measure that empathy properly. I don't think I'm in a position to.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I really do. But I do not want government involved.
But intellectually, yes. I mean, the scriptures are really clear, and it's really cut and dry. But I think that's why God doesn't allow us to judge, because it's not our job.
Okay, wait a minute. That's a different show. That's a different show. I'm just saying that you're wrong on that one, Melanie. But I thank you so much for coming on my program.
Melanie, I mean, decide their ultimate fate.
No. Okay, I have to bring the Kraken on. And trust me, when I see you tomorrow, I will be hiding. I will be hiding behind the Kraken, because I know payback is something. So, can you tell?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna see all of y'all. Poindexter, Mr. Chittams, all of y'all. See you tomorrow. Mr. McClinton, every last one of you.
All right. So, Melanie, tell everybody how they can listen to your program.
You can listen to my program Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 10:05, Money Talk for Melanie. You can catch me on my Facebook page live, Money Talk for Melanie. Tweet me at Money Talk Mel, or email me at moneytalkwithmelanie@gmail.com. Thank you so much for the shameless plug.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to know that I'm a very fair and kind man. You see that? You see that? I don't have to wait for my laurels. I don't have to give anyone the opportunity of saying how great thou art. I want you all to know. See, I cared so much. Not really. I cared very much. And I wanted to make certain that before the Kraken came on, she had an opportunity to express herself.
And forwarded to an automatic voice message.
All right. Kraken, we'll get ready to call you here. We will all be hiding behind Ralph. No, you did not get kicked to the curb. Oh, my God. You did not get kicked to the curb, Kraken.
Good evening.
Good evening. This is Ralph J. Chittams Sr. You will find him on the afternoon drive time show, The Wright Guys, on TECN. He is also a great consultant, political consultant in Washington, D.C. with the Black Republicans Consulting LLC. It's a pleasure, honor to have you on the air with us tonight, sir.
It's always good to hang out with the exceptional one himself and all of listeners wherever they may be on the face of the earth.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. We're supposed to be hiding behind you tomorrow, man. And then you put that remark out there, this is radio, looks don't matter.
Hey, the truth is the truth. It will set you free.
Okay, Melanie corrects me again, Black Elephants LLC. All right, Black Elephants LLC. Thank you very much, Melanie. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, Black Elephant, well, Black Elephant Consultant LLC.
Thank you. Let's be precise about that. Let me put that back in there for her, so she can get me back next time. Black Elephants Consultant LLC. There we go. There we go. Right there. Right back at you. Ralph, you and I agree on life all the way down to the 99-yard line. And I would presume that you disagree with the mayor, Muriel Bowser. I just want to hear your opinion regarding physician-assisted suicide, since this is a very big topic tonight.
Well, for me, God is the giver of life. God is the taker of life. And man does not have the moral authority to step in to make that ultimate decision. Mm-hmm. And for me, that includes state-sponsored death penalties. And for me, it also assisted suicide, simply because a person taking his or her own life is just a difference of degree. Mm-hmm. You are still taking a life. The fact that you are taking your own life is irrelevant. If the taking of life is wrong, then the taking of life is also wrong. Mm-hmm. So I'm a life guy, period, across the board.
There you go. And I have my druthers regarding the state-sponsored death penalty because I believe that that is a remedy for a criminal offense. And I agree that we can disagree, and we are great friends otherwise. But it's important.
But at least my logic is eternally consistent.
Oh man, I'm telling you, only on TECN will you get this kind of conversation going across the board. I am telling you, Ralph J. Chittams Sr. with Black Elephants Consultant LLC. Thank you very much, Melanie. What an attitude, sir. Today, the mayor of the District of Columbia actually sent back a bill, and I'm going to come across that. And it's the paid family leave bill. She sent it back to the D.C. City Council unsigned. thus allowing it to become the law of the District of Columbia. Now, according to that particular bill, it is to offer anyone working for a private employer in D.C., whether or not they live in the city, 8 weeks of paid parental leave, 6 weeks of paid family leave, and 2 weeks of paid medical leave. And so I have to ask you, sir, when your consulting firm starts growing like that, will you be leaving D.C.?
Probably, but here's the bigger point. What the mayor did, what Muriel Bowser did today, that was a punk move.
Yes.
Now, this is what Congress should do when that bill hit Capitol Hill. They should take that bill. They should say it is not right. They should send it back downtown to the mayor. Tell her to either sign it or veto it, and then we will consider it. Because, see, like I said, she just played a punk move because she didn't want to put her name on something that would be controversial. She didn't want to veto something that would be controversial. What we had was a weak mayor taking a punk move out from between a rock and a hard place. And if I were Congress, I do it. I would send it back to her, tell her to do her job, and then send it back up to the Hill.
Now, there might be some people who are listening in the chat roll and listening around the country to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. And they might be saying, well, gee, Ken and Ralph, why are you all so mean-spirited? Why can't people pay into that? And it's only going to cost $250 million. Don't you want poor women to be able to go home and have a job, come back to a job?
Well, first things first, I just told the mayor off for being a punk. Now, let's see, and truthfully, see, and that's what liberals would do. There's nothing that I said that addressed the merits of the bill one way or another. I said the bill wasn't right. It should be sent back to the mayor, force her to sign it or veto it, and then send it back up to the Hill. That's what I said.
That's what you said.
And truthfully, right, that's what but you're right, liberals would spin it. Oh, you don't want women to have health care?
Exactly. Now, the whole idea here is that this is a tax on payroll. So really, it's a tax increase. And a great burden of that will be upon small companies. They will say, well, no, that's not the case. There's a cap on it. But the bottom line is $250 million a year because of a 0.62% payroll tax on employers. 0.62. That's a lot of money.
Remember, they're going to be collecting this tax for a number of years before the benefit is even applied because they have to build up a cash reserve in order to pay out the benefits. So you're going to have companies in D.C. paying this $250 million a year for, I think, the next 3 or 4 years before the people who are going to benefit from this leave can eat. See, that's the insanity of it.
Exactly.
So you have people, you're going to have corporations and companies basically putting money into a slush fund to take care of another government mandate.
Okay, and what's the name of that again? It's called a what? A slush fund. Because all of that money is not going to be used. Social Security was the same way. It was supposed to be used as a lockbox. The people pay into it, it's supposed to get out. When you give $250 million on an annual basis to the state government, and they don't have to balance their budget. Well, they do have to balance their budget, but you're giving them $250 million or more capital to use. They're not going to spend that the right way. They're going to misuse and misappropriate that money.
That money's going to be gone. Half that money's going to wind up in a general fund to pay for some other social program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, my God. We'll release the Kraken tonight for the world to hear. And I would encourage you all to listen to the Kraken, along with Lonnie Poindexter, every afternoon drive time from 4 to 6 p.m. on TECN. the Wright guys. And I really love your closing remark. What is the closing for your program?
Well, it's the closing, and it's obviously how we open every hour of our show. We give people a very short statement so they understand how we have developed our worldview. And we just state very simply that we are humans by race, Christians by faith, Americans by nationality, and conservatives by choice.
There you
That's
go.
who we are.
And,
plain and simple.
And if ever we're wrong.
And if ever on the rarest of occasions, we may make a slight error, we will always be right.
Exactly. So we're looking at Congress tearing up this particular bill when it gets there because they're having some real problems with the District of Columbia in terms of sovereignty, the right of governance. And right now there are battles going on Capitol Hill to take over the district government because apparently they have run roughshod over the whole concept of home rule. And
so what the district did is they ran roughshod over the fiduciary responsibilities that Congress has over the District of Columbia.
Yep.
They passed a law in the District of Columbia which says that local funds do not have to be cleared in order to be spent in the district. Congress doesn't have to, have anything to do with it. They can their own money. Well, the problem with that is that provision flies in the face of the clear language of the Home Rule Charter and also flies in the face of the constitutional powers given to the Congress to oversee the District of Columbia in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution.
There you go. But you know that they don't use that on at the D.C. building, district building. They don't use that. The Constitution, no, I think they burnt that thing a long time ago. That's how you can come across stuff like this.
What they've done is they've come up with this tortured legal opinion regarding the Home Rule Charter, which they claim gives them the right to spend locally raised funds outside of congressional oversight. And clearly the Home Rule Charter does not grant the District of Columbia that authority. So what's happening now is Daddy is showing up and he's going to spank his child.
Yes, that's why we love the Kraken so much. I want to ask you tonight, the left has gone berserk crazy, absolutely berserk crazy. And they have been given more kerosene or gasoline for the fire as a result of the Mike Flynn matter, his resignation on Monday night in the Darth of the Night, and Andrew Puzder, who has stepped down, or at least withdrawn his consideration for labor secretary. The left feels that they have become winners. Winners! You're going to get tired of winning. Do you see it that way, sir?
No. Well, honestly, Flynn screwed up when he lied.
Yeah.
Flat out.
Yeah.
You don't lie to the President of the United States. You don't lie to the Vice President of the United States, especially if you are in line to be a part of the national security apparatus. The conversation that he held with the Russian was not illegal, it was not immoral, it was not unethical. It was, however, outside the bounds of protocol.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he had just answered the question, honestly, we wouldn't be here right now.
Exactly.
So, truthfully, the fact that Flynn is out is his own fault. Now, as far as Puzder is concerned, I predicted that Puzder was going to go down in flames the minute the story broke that he had an undocumented illegal working in his house for 5 years and he hadn't paid the taxes. He had to go.
Yes.
There was no possible way for them to keep him because back under Bill Clinton, we lost Zoe Baird and another woman for the same nonsense. So if they let this white man skate on hiring illegals and not paying the taxes, but they had completely vilified those two white women for doing the same thing. Now, one of them may have been a minority. I'm not positive now.
Yeah.
But the two women, like I said, the "I am woman, hear me roar" in numbers too big to ignore crowd would have gone absolutely crazy, and they would have been correct in doing so. He had to go simply because of that incident with the hiring the illegal and not paying the taxes. It was a consistency issue, and it's unfortunate, but now we know for all of our rich friends out there who have hired illegal gardeners and nannies and chauffeurs, do not think for a minute that you will ever be appointed to a position in the United States government that requires confirmation, because you will not be confirmed.
There you go. But I want to ask you also, shouldn't that have been caught by vetting? I mean, since we're doing extreme vetting for those who are coming in from overseas, shouldn't that have been an extreme vetting of Putzer? I mean, shouldn't this have been known before they'd announced that he was going to be the labor secretary?
Do you want a long answer or a short answer?
Let's go with the short one.
Yes. Absolutely. That should have been caught in the vetting process.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And he never should have been nominated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all this other stuff is smoke and mirrors.
Exactly.
You know, the discredited claim that he abuses, or the fact that he uses scantily clad women to sell hamburgers. Who cares?
Yeah. I mean, wait a minute.
People were complaining about these scantily clad women still going to, I bet they.
Wait a minute. I already feel like I'm in trouble, Ralph. I'm listening to the Kraken. I just yelled out, yeah. And I bet you Melanie has her finger on the phone to call my wife. I am appalled. Exactly. I'm appalled and offended that scantily clad women did a burger commercial. So there.
Right. And what about the position of Sports Illustrated?
Yeah.
What about when you know, and they don't do it as much anymore, but they still have, at some of the exhibits at the car show, you know, these 6-foot tall, drop-dead gorgeous women going, look at the Mustang.
Yeah.
So, see, this is all hypocrisy on the part of the left. They pick and choose when they want to become morally indignant.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, look, the women in these commercials are paid scale. They get paid residuals. These women have options. They are doing it because they want to. It's not like they're being exploited in some kind of a ISIS sex camp somewhere. So, no. But the only issue that was important to me as far as Putzer was concerned was the hired and illegal in his household staff and had the appropriate taxes. That alone disqualified him from office. Everything else is just smoking nonsense.
Thank you very much, sir. The Kraken, we got to let him go. Ralph, how can people listen to you, and how can those around the country consult you regarding their intentions to enter the world of politics?
Yeah, well, from Monday through Friday, you can listen to me and Lonnie Poindexter with the Wright guys on TECN at 4:05. It's from 4:05 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Oh, and a shameless plug, I will be doing Roland Martin's show tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. So please tune in, and we'll see if I can get anybody's head to explode that can be called. Please visit my website. Please visit my website, blackelephantconsultants.com. Blackelephantconsultants.com. I have some blog posts up there. You can reach out, ask me questions. You can check out my bio and the bio of the consultants that we have on board. You'd be surprised, many that you already know. Let's make America great again.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen.
I'm all for it.
Kraken, thank you so much for coming on tonight, and we look forward to listening to your program tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. You can come into the same chat room that you're in right now, and listen to the show and give your commentary, your comments, like certain people do, make their comments. And Ralph is kind enough, he'll respond to you. We love you, man.
Absolutely. Give my best to the man.
I will. God bless you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not through yet. The big night continues on. In a few moments, we will be talking with none other than one of the most powerful women in the state of Maryland when it comes to politics. Yes, the woman, the beautiful woman that she is and brilliant woman that she is, Shannon Wright, and she has a big event that we want to talk about tomorrow night in Baltimore. It's a first, and we want you to be a part of it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more of the best in urban conservative talk. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then to the socialist. We'll be back.
Want to know the best kept secret in flea and tick control? It's the money you'll save with 1-800-PET-MEDS. Save 30, 40, even 50% on veterinary recommended brands for your pet, and we'll deliver them free right to your door. And now you can get the safe and effective results of a top brand for even less with new Flea for X Plus. 4-way action to kill fleas, ticks, lice, and mosquitoes. Plus, it starts working in 5 minutes to 1 hour and is backed by our 100% happy guarantee. Call now or order online from 1-800-PET-MED.
With home values up and interest rates near all-time lows, you probably know that now is a great time to refinance, like the Johnsons, who save $436 a month.
$436 a month?
It's simple. Just go to LendingTree.com, compare loan offers for free, and see how much you could save in just 5 minutes.
Oh, you said the bank gave you the best rate.
Yeah.
LendingTree. When banks compete, you win.
I have to do everything myself.
Someone is sleeping on the couch tonight.
Thank you for the technical call. And I really enjoy ICRN, your station, the station I listen to all day.
Okay, thanks, Dominique, for that.
The best late night conservative talk show in America, TECN Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk. TECN Sean and TECN Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best late night conservative talk, TECN Radio. The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
From day's first light till night's last glimmer, your satisfaction is our responsibility. On the range or in the field of duty, you can rely on Brownell's lifetime guaranteed gun parts, tools, and supplies. Anytime, any place. It's how we've done business since 1939. Brownell's.
gentlemen, welcome back. You're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, what is the power of liberation. First to the Republican and then the Socialist. Ladies and gentlemen, you are in the commercial-free period of our program. No more commercials. You don't have to worry about it on SHR Live or HP Talk Radio Live or on High Plains Pundit Media Live. And certainly all the great people from Red Nation Rising, they left about an hour ago. What a great show we're having right now. Perry Drake will be joining us starting on Tuesday of next week, CPAC week, in fact, at 10:05. And I want to make this announcement for everyone because I made this promise that I would make this announcement tonight. You know, on Monday nights Sunday nights. Forgive me. Actually, it's not even Sunday nights. It's Sunday mornings. Get it together, man. Sunday mornings at 9:05 a.m., I do an American Conservatives exploration of the inspired Word of God. And we do an exploration of the Scriptures, and we do it in such a fashion where you get a understanding of what the Scriptures meant at that particular time period to apply it to your life. Now, in this particular case, I always believed that there was something missing, that we needed a 1-2 punch. And so I want to announce to everyone tonight, I found the 2 punch. I might be a heavy right hand, but she's a left undercut. I'm going to announce to you tonight that starting at 10:05 a.m. on Sunday mornings, February 26th is the start date to that, my anniversary week. In fact, Leslie Ann Stoffel will be doing her program live on TECN called The Real Clear Israel. The Real Clear Israel. So I'm excited to make that announcement tonight that we are growing by leaps and bounds. And starting on February 26th, that's at 10:05 a.m., you will get a chance to hear a woman who is passionate about Israel. And we are very thankful to have her as a member of our team. We're growing. We're growing big. It just is that way on TECN. And so we're very thankful for this particular opportunity to have that beautiful young woman actually open up the doors. Because there are lots of, and I told her earlier today, there are lots of people who preach on Sunday mornings who have never been to Israel. And many of them actually find themselves supporting jihadism. If only they knew, ladies and gentlemen, and only they knew. And they will know starting February 26th. Yeah, it is, Dave. It's very early for her. 7 in the morning for her. We are contacting now Shannon Wright. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Shannon Wright, the beautiful little princess who airs every morning, drive time morning, 7 to 9 a.m. on the Exceptional Conservative Network, TECN, with her superstar husband, Mike Wright. Shannon, it's a great privilege talking with one of the most powerful political women in Maryland.
You are saying good evening. It was awesome to be here and a part of your show and all that wonderful good stuff.
It is so good to listen to you all on the mornings. Something about that rat thing I want to talk with you about tomorrow. But
listen, you're gonna have to take that one to. Thank God I was holding hostages. I'm talking about witness protection program. But see, when people are out and about and free to do as they please, those are the stories they choose. Make me get that.
Now, Shannon Wright is a spitfire. I'm telling you. You do not say no to Shannon. When was the last time you heard the exceptional one say no to you?
I don't know. I don't think, yeah.
Yeah. She will smile with you. She has the prettiest smile. She'll smile with you, but if she sees that you're getting ready to say no, all of a sudden a total different look comes on her, and you're forced to say yes. What did I?
Well, you're not. Listen, people have said no to me in the past on different issues, and at the time when they said it, they meant it. I just merely point out the error, and that there is another solution. And that time, when you're in a time crunch, it is best to just tell me yes from the beginning and avoid all the hassle and chaos.
While we're not biologically related, she is my little sister, and it's very difficult to say no to the little. And she knows it too. I accidentally picked up the phone.
Hence why you'll be with us in Baltimore tomorrow.
Exactly. I accidentally picked up the phone and just pressed the button, and she was on, and she said, "Are you going to be there?" She didn't even say hello. Are you going to be there tomorrow? Yes. Shannon, tell everybody where we're going to be tomorrow.
There's a problem here. We are going to be at the Wright African American Museum in Baltimore City. It is the first ever African American History Month reception, sponsored 100% by the Maryland State GOP.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Did you say the Maryland State? I'm sorry.
Yes, I did.
I think there was some frequency problem on the air or something. The Maryland State?
Oh, no, it was clear. It was, yes, the Maryland State Republican Party, of which I am the third vice chair, newly elected and sworn in. I, as president, campaigned on certain platform issues, and lo and behold, I've been sworn in, and I intend to adhere to. So for those of you that got something other than what you got, you're getting surprised. It was my intention to move the needle in the state of Maryland. In order to do that, you have to move the needle in Baltimore City and PG County. And one of the ways you do that is visual.
Exactly.
And one of the best ways of doing that is to show yourself present and active and engaged in Baltimore City. So that's what we're doing.
Now, I know a lot of people are absolutely shocked. I mean, there are no Republicans in Baltimore. Why is that? Really?
There are 32,000 of us, and I intend to make sure and reach out to each and every one of them.
Wow. Now this is a first.
And by the
Go ahead. You're going to say.
Yes. Well, there are a lot of Republicans in Baltimore City, and they, up until now, just have not had a reason to come out and engage. The party hasn't been visible. And when the party was visible, it was visible, yet not understanding that some to gain the support of people, you have to stop talking, sit down, and listen.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. We're trying to hear what the issues are. And from that, formulate a strategy and a plan that fits within the platform of the Republican Party, expressing to people that forward momentum means being free to move in the direction you need to go.
Wow. I am simply amazed. You know, it takes a lot to amaze me. I'm amazed right here that this is actually going to take place tomorrow. Now, you probably only got one or two people, going to show up, maybe from the local PTA meeting or something, right? You don't have any big guests, do you?
Mm-hmm. Something like that, yeah. No, we do. We do. Matter of fact, we started out with 3 speakers. We are now up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow.
And they are all awesome and dynamic. We are starting with Dr. Tony Campbell, who is the current Maryland State Black Republican Coalition Chairman. And he's going to talk about some of the things that are going on with the coalition. And then he's going to introduce Victor Clark, who of the the Maryland Black Republican Coalition, and a current commissioner with the Maryland State Board of Commerce. And he's going to talk about the history of Baltimore and some of the things that have to shape the city.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have showing that centerpiece, Michael Steele, who, as we know, is a former Maryland Lieutenant Governor and RNC Chairman, talking about the strength of Maryland. And then also talking about the strength of Maryland, we have David Byrd, who is allowing us big announcement tomorrow at the reception that has not been made publicly, that has to do with different departments in the new administration. And then finishing up our program is a young man by the name of Chad Gordon, who came in from California to be able to paint a picture that once seen, no one will be able to refute. This young man is going to paint a picture with a roadmap on how to get Baltimore from where it is back in the 60s and 70s to be a shining beacon technologic city of the 21st century.
Wow. Now, I just want to ask you, I have an idea, but I want to know who is responsible for getting the Maryland GOP, state GOP, the state GOP, and the Baltimore GOP to do this. I mean, y'all haven't done this in what? Since Frederick Douglass?
Let me just make sure before I answer this question in my special, charming, and personal way that I'm understanding the question clearly. You're asking who is the new and dynamic force that has motivated the Maryland State GOP to host, to sponsor this event and in conjunction with the Baltimore City Central Committee. Is that what you're asking? You're asking for who?
Yeah. What person?
What force made that possible?
Yes.
You want to know?
Yes.
The God that I serve, countering and telling me my every move and step to take. That's it.
Glory be to God. Glory be to God. And the angel that he used to make it come to pass, because it would have been wrong for her to say it, but I'll say it. Shannon Wright is being used very, very poignantly in the state of Maryland to right some wrongs. The People's Republic of Maryland, that is, to right some wrongs and actually get the direction changed towards a more free and more prosperous Maryland. How can people get in contact with you? How can they go to this event tomorrow?
They can reach me on Facebook. Come to this Right Way with Shannon and Mike Facebook page. They can go to the Right for Maryland Facebook page. Go to the TECN and reach out to any of the hosts, but most of the hosts of the lineup on the TECN will also be in Baltimore tomorrow. So there are many ways to find it.
I got a feeling. I have an inkling, a small feeling here that the Maryland State GOP have learned what I learned a very long time ago. You cannot say no to my baby sister.
Yeah, I don't know if they fully understand that yet, but they will.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am telling you, you are missing a jewel event every morning, Monday through Friday. And in fact, I will not make this announcement till sometime probably next 2 weeks, but there will be a big announcement about the listening to The Right Way with Shannon and Mike. They do a wonderful job getting the very best radio out in the morning from 7 to 9 a.m. And I'm putting it in the chat roll for you all to click on and make sure that you're up at 7 a.m. If you're going to be up, you might as well be listening to Shannon and Mike. God bless you. We love you dearly. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And we just all going to do some great things. And thank you as a visionary behind the TECN.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't remember anything we said tonight, I want you to remember this. God bless America. It's time for America to bless God. We'll see you tomorrow night. Stay in. Go to SHR Media tonight, shrmedia.com, for the best late night talk show in America. Good night. God bless.